Hello and welcome to Faith, Hope, Love. It's your weekly podcast that talks about the Bible using teachings and stories and illustrations. Listen, we're having a very fantastic time in the Living as God series. But this week I want to talk about something that I call the ability of God. I thought about it. If you're going to live as Christ, you're going to live with His life, and you're going to have His image like we talked about, and you're going to have His life in you like we spoke about, then what ability should you then have? You should use His ability and not your ability. Makes sense, right? I mean, remember we talked about it in the first episode when we talked about the started Living as God series, that you are dead, Christ is the one alive. So if Christ is alive, then whose ability should you use? You should use Christ's ability. And so, listen, I'll read two scriptures to you, and they are very easy to understand. The first one will be from 2 Corinthians 3 verse 5. It says, "Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as being of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God." That word sufficiency is the word hikanos, which means adequate. So that scripture is saying it's not that we are adequate of ourselves, that we should think anything from ourselves, right? But our adequacy is from God. Your adequacy is from God. Your adequacy. How are you going to be adequate to fulfill those things required in your workplace? From God. How are you going to be adequate to be the perfect husband? From God. My adequacy is from God. My adequacy is from God. Listen, don't go around trying to do things by your ability. Use the ability of Christ. Use His adequacy. Use His ability. Use His hikanos. Use it. Don't go around struggling. People say, well, I don't know how to do A or B or C. Well, you don't know how to. But the thing is, does God know how to? If He has, then use His hikanos. Use His adequacy. You are adequate in Him. You are sufficient in Him. The scripture says, ye are complete in Him. In Him, there is no limitation, friends. Listen, I just wanted to encourage you with that. And I'll end with this scripture in the book of Colossians 3 verse 17. And it says, "And whatsoever you do, I beg your pardon, in word or in deed, do all in the name of the Lord." I can't do A, B, or C. You can't, but in the name of the Lord, you can. He is your sufficiency. He is your adequacy. That's all I have for you this week. And until the next episode, remember, I have the ability of God. I have His adequacy.